Hi, my name is Dr. Maeva Clark, and I help mothers emotionally support their children with learning differences without burning out. Today, I am going to talk about living life with intention on purpose. And I'm going to share my experience over the last few days just so you can see how I show up for myself. For example, when you are busy, and you have a lot going on, you must be intentional, or things that you need to do won't get done because things that are just attention and time stealers will occupy that space. So, the first thing I'm going to just talk about my last 5 days. And on Friday, I had date night with my husband. So we've been together now for 35 years, married almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years next April. And we must make time for each other. We must be intentional, or life will just consume us. And that's, in my opinion, how you can grow further apart. So, what did I do? I dressed up and we went on a date. We acted as if we were literally dating. We went to a nice restaurant. We enjoyed each other's company. And I'm grateful for that. On Saturday, I am an author, as you know, and I presented my book, The Parent and Caregiver's Guide: Overcoming the Odds of Disabilities, Medical Challenges, Mental Health Disorders, and Trauma. How did I present this book? Well, this book is a book written with 12 co authors, and each of us have a chapter in this book. So the first half of the book are parents answering the questions, and the second half of the book are professionals answering the questions to help parents with resources and the tools that they need to navigate life on this journey with their children. And on Saturday, not only did I present, I had five of my co authors with me. So it was six of us on a panel. We met at the Sharon Hill Library in Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania, and it was phenomenal. I love this book so much, and I love the community of women who wrote a chapter in this book. If you have been with me, then you know my first book is Help: Support for Parents of Children with Learning and Thinking Differences to Feel Confident, Capable, and Fulfilled. So when I wrote the first book, it was all about my story, my journey with my son, as he navigated school with an IEP, or individualized education program. And it was 25 years of my experience. Every chapter, I talked about a scenario or story that we overcame, the that related to the chapter title. And then, I sold this book. It got in the hands of many people, and the feedback was tremendous. And I take a lot of pride in that book. For one, it was my first book. But when I saw how much I was able to help with my individual story, I thought, how much more of an impact would I be able to make if I collaborated with other people? I put the call out. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know who was going to show up. Um, it didn't matter what gender the author was, or what race, ethnicity. Nothing mattered because we all have a story. But as it turned out, it wasn't just people telling their story like I did about mothering our children. But it was professionals who said to me, I like what you're doing. I like the idea. How can I add value, or is there a place for me? I would like to be in this book with you on this journey, but I don't have children with learning differences, or I don't have children with these challenges. And I didn't know that it would turn out that it was divinely orchestrated and planned that I would have both. I would have the parents and the professionals in the same book. So on Saturday, we had a panel discussion and we were talking about the book and how it came about, what their experience was writing in a collaboration book and things like that. Then we had a mother who came to the library and asked the question, and she was in so much pain as she was navigating this season with her. I believe he was 7 years. He's 7 years old, and he's on the autism spectrum. And she said she was feeling overwhelmed, and it was just everything was caving in on her. Um, what I liked is not just me who poured into her and added value, but the panelists spoke up and was giving her tools and suggestions and things. And right before our very eyes, we saw her countenance change. Instead of crying, she looked open, she looked lighter, she looked refreshed. Um, And I was so proud in that moment. I was proud of her for speaking up and being vulnerable. And I was proud of us for taking our time to build her up to the point where she found hope again, where she was rejuvenated. And that is what this is all about. And that's why I love this book, The Parent and Caregiver's Guide, Overcoming the Odds of Disabilities, Medical Challenges, Mental Health Disorders, and Trauma. The event was so, so, so good. And my goal is to travel and present at least once a quarter, to enlighten people about the book and give them the opportunity to meet with the authors and ask questions. On Sunday, my mother is a pastor, assistant pastor, and she was invited to preach out at a church she had been preaching for this special service for probably 20 plus years. So I went to support her. And when I tell you, it was so awesome, so amazing because I no longer attend the church where I grew up. But when I went to hear her preach, it was about 20 of us, including me, with the people that I went to church with, that supported her. It was such a feel good moment. And my mother will be 84 years old next month. So for her to get up there and have the ability for God to use her in this capacity at her older age, it was just so beautiful to see. And I'm so grateful that there wasn't a conflict in my schedule and I was able to support her because God knows my mother supports me. Um, And as she was talking or preaching, she shared the fact that I'm an author and I wrote 6 books. She left out the workbook, but who's counting? No, she said I wrote 6 books. And at the end of the service, the pastor said, I want to see the person that wrote the books. Who was it? And I raised my hand and she said, come on up here, come on up here. So I went to the front and They gave me a microphone. They wanted to hear about the books. I was able to tell them about the books, the little description of them. And she said, I want that book. That was the book, Levels of Faith, Faith for One Season. Let me see if I have it. Um, I have it, but I don't have it right in front of me. But that was the book, Levels of Faith. Faith for one season may be different than faith for another season. So as she said that, she said, "Where can I order?" I said, "Oh, have book will travel." I said, "Oh, the book is. I have some in my car," and she asked me to go get them. As I was walking out, another sister stopped me and she said, I want the book Help. Do you have that one?" I said, "Yes." I went to my car, came back, and just from going to support my mother and her telling about what I do, I had no intention on selling books that day, but I'm always prepared. And I was so blessed and so honored to be able to sell the books. But do you know one person bought all six books and the workbook. So I was truly blessed. And then later that day, I the person that bought all the books, she texted me and she said that I'm already waiting for your next book to come out. She said, not the book that you're writing now, the one after that. And I was like, wow. So she gets it because I'm in the process of writing my daughter's story right now. So if you want to be a pre-order supporter, let a sister know, and you can pre-order the book and have your name mentioned in the book as a pre-order supporter. I would love that. I'm about to start really trying to collect people's support. So then Monday was basically work, just trying to. I had a lot of meetings on Monday. Mondays are really heavy for me with meetings, and then I did my work. Then on yesterday, which is, I mean, on Tuesday. I'm sorry. On Tuesday, I had my cousin's funeral. My cousin Khalil was only 36 years old. I'm sorry. He was 36 years old, and he is truly going too soon. He lived a life that he was proud of, that he was an example to his son and to others. And I'm really grateful because there were parts about him that I didn't know, but he had at least 500 people at his funeral. And some of the stories and things that the people were saying made me stick my chest out like, wow, this I'm super proud of him. And even in areas that I didn't know that he made such a large impact on a community, I'm grateful for that. This was an extremely emotional time for me um, because he did leave an 11-year-old son. So, my point for sharing that with you is life still goes on, even when you're in a difficult season, even when you're navigating grief or death. What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with it when you know that you're faced with a challenge? Um, and I would encourage anyone that's dealing with grief to get help, get therapy, get some counseling, help you navigate that space if you need it. If you are finding yourself depressed and in the bed and it lasts longer than 2 weeks, um, that is more than an emotional state of being. You are moving towards clinical depression and you need help. Um, Grief is very challenging, very difficult to deal with and to navigate, but death is a part of life and it's going to hurt us no matter when we experience it. It will be a little challenging. So when I left there, I came home. I had to work. I finished working, and that night I had my group MOEK, Mothers of Exceptional Kids, and it's actually for mothers and fathers and caregivers. But I really like the way Mothers of Exceptional Kids sounded, so I went with that. But it really can be for anyone who deals with children with learning differences or unique abilities. So now I could have stayed stuck with the sadness of the grief, but I chose to show up for myself and I chose to show up for Moet. So on every first Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have MOEK support group or MOEK advocacy support group. And I am loving this community because I am cultivating and creating a space of transparency and to get to wholeness. And the feedback has been incredible. And I really, really, really enjoy this group. I really do. So when you are faced with adversity, it can be challenging and it will be challenging. But you have to find your hope. You have to find your peace in the moment and continue to move on. I definitely would love it if you find yourself needing extra support and you wanted to join our MOEC group. I will put the link in the chat and I definitely would love for you to participate if you feel so inclined. And believe it or not, we have women that show up with typically developing children, but they needed support. And what I was told was the thing that they do may be different, but they could use the support of the group regardless to what they choose to do. And again, I encourage you to be true to yourself, to be honest with yourself, provide yourself some self care. And self care does not need to be expensive. Self care does not need to be expensive. You can perform self care by simply taking a walk, by going to the gym, working out, eating a nutritious meal. But I encourage you to think about what it is that you need in a moment to feel better about what you're doing, and um, just go from there. Self care. You must take care of yourself. And like anything, pace yourself. What I do to get through my days, I ask God, what am I graced for today? And no day look exactly the same for me because my need is different from moment to moment. Um, so I just again wanted to share these things. Live life with intention on purpose. We all need a purpose driven life. And when you feel that you are walking in purpose, you will feel more fulfilled. Okay? Well, I hope this helps you at least to think about your own situation, your own journey on how you can get emotional support during this time. And if you don't have anybody, feel free to reach out to me and allow me to help you with that. So, again, my name is Dr. Maeva Clark, and I help mothers emotionally support their children with learning differences without burning out. Until the next time, I will see you later. Have a good evening.